Okay. And Mike and Austin, you're on the
Hello,
air.
I am from the Austin Stone. I'm sure you know the church.
Okay.
And I welcome you to join it. We've got a great church, and we're pretty much by the book. And I've helped many lost souls find their way, so to speak. Yeah.
Well, we're not lost. Don't have a soul.
Wait, is this just a call to advertise your church?
Well, I just wanted to start off by welcoming you to join, if you want.
Well, thank you.
It sounds like you obviously don't belong to one now, do you?
No, you're right.
You're right. We don't.
But thank you for the invite.
But you did one time, didn't you?
I did.
Yes, I did as well.
So you didn't feel any warmth when you sang the hymns or listened to sermons or anything?
Yeah, I did. I did.
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with whether
I
the
came to the
theology is
conclusion
true or
that
not.
feelings are not God.
Yeah.
So why exactly did you quit?
Well, I quit because I did a lot of research into how the Bible came to exist and also into church history, how the church came to exist. And when I realized that, in my view, I couldn't find anything to substantiate that there was a hand of God involved, I began to question the authority of the church and of the Bible. And at that point, I stopped being a Christian, but I maintained theism for about another 10 years while I searched to try to find out then if the Bible is a man-made book, and if the church founded upon Jesus is based on that Bible and it's a man-made institution, then what really is God, and what would God want me to do? And so I aimed my search more toward just putting my life in the hands of whatever God was, that he would show me what was required, what I needed to do, just lead the way and I will follow. I'm searching. That went on for about 10 years until I came to the conclusion that if God is everything, pretty much that's pantheism. So I thought I was a pantheist for about a week. I guess I was a pantheist for about a week, and then I said, this is kind of ridiculous. It's the universe, and so we have a name for it, and God and matter are not the same thing. Material existence is material existence, and if that's what I'm calling God, then I might as well just say I'm an atheist.
Well, it seems to me that you can be a non-believer, but it's another step if you want to make a show and say you're an atheist and start to say these bitter things.
Well, why?
What have I said that's bitter?
Yeah, why do you think we're bitter?
Well, I mean, just the general tone I get from you is that you're actually mad or angry with God.
Gosh, we just
Oh,
had
my
that
goodness! Is this a joke? Are you a Poe? Is this a Poe, or are you for real? Are you calling just to pull our legs, or is this a serious call?
This is a serious call.
Okay, so now wait a second. Do you understand that an atheist does not believe a God exists? Do you understand that? Do you understand that an atheist does not believe a God exists?
Yes, well, of course.
Okay, then do you understand? Okay, I'm not accusing you of being stupid. I just want to make sure we're clear on our definitions. If you understand I don't believe a God exists, how does the statement "I'm angry at God" make any sense at all?
Well, angry about religion, then, about this so-called institution you call it.
It is an institution. I mean, even if you believe God produced it, it's still an institution, right? I mean, it's institutionalized.
Well,
for
you
sure.
said yourself that you felt some warmth when you went to church, that it just wasn't for you. But why do you have to make a show and say these things then?
Well, did you not hear the example of the homeopathic remedy? Did you hear what I just talked about? If not, I'm happy to repeat it. I mean, really, if you were on the phone and you were on hold and you weren't really hearing it, that's fine. I'm happy to give you the example again. But the point is, I said that there would even be people that don't believe in homeopathy that would write to you and say, well, some people are helped just because they feel better because of a placebo effect, so why are you bitching about homeopathy? But the fact is there's a lot of people harmed by homeopathy.
Well,
and
who does the church harm?
Who does the church harm?
Are you kidding?
We have, first of all, Christians in Nigeria who are killing their own children because God said to not suffer witches to live, and they believe their children are witches. We have Christians in Uganda who are passing laws they wanted to execute homosexuals as a crime, but now they've made it life in prison. We have Christians in Africa that are missioning and telling people in AIDS-ridden nations not to wear condoms. We have Christians here in Austin, Texas, who don't think that a woman should have a right to choose, that are down on women's rights. We have Christians across the U.S. who are trying to trample the rights of gays, who are trying to keep them from...
I personally find it a bit insulting for you to say that my church is bad people. They're good people at my church.
We didn't say.
When did I say
didn't
that
say,
your church is bad people? You asked me to give you examples of the harm that religion causes, and I just listed some. You asked me to.
You don't think there are atheists who do bad things? I could tell you about them. How would that make you feel?
Wait a minute.
Well,
you didn't ask me to provide examples of that. You asked me specifically for examples of the harm that religion causes. You asked for that, and I provided it. How is that offensive to you?
Well, I didn't do anything wrong to anyone. In fact, I think I'm a pretty
No,
good person.
no one said you
didn't ask me
did.
to give you examples of wrong you've done. You asked me to give examples of harm that the church has caused, that religion has caused, and I provided those examples. How is that a problem?
Well,
why should that offend you? Why did you even ask for examples if getting those examples was going to upset you?
All right then. Well, I just... Why don't you just have someone like Dr. Craig on your show? Why do you always beat up on random people who call in? Why don't you have some actual theologians on your
Who am I
show?
beating up?
Stop. We're not beating up anybody.
I'm answering your question.
And listen, there are however many religious shows on public access television and network television. And there's this one atheist show here in Austin, Texas. Why should we give airtime to a professional apologist?
Because they're actually educated on the subject. So you might actually have a challenge. I think you guys are too scared to have the serious guys on.
None of us are professional atheists, whatever that would entail. Okay? We're inviting people to call and tell us what they believe, why they believe it, and why we should believe it too.
Right, but the other point, I want to just reiterate what Jen said earlier, because I want to make sure you heard this. There are hours and hours and hours of TV and radio and in doctrinal institutions around the globe going nonstop promoting religious indoctrination and religious belief. And I really think it's ridiculous to get upset at a 1-hour atheist amateur program that's put out weekly by an educational foundation here in Austin that's really just about putting out information on atheism. You think that 1 hour dedicated by a bunch of amateur atheists producers and cast and crew is really that intimidating to you?
It's not intimidating. It certainly bothers people.
It certainly bothers you.
Church.
It bothers you?
Yeah, but I mean, look at all the airtime you've got. I mean, for one billboard we put up in Austin, how many religious billboards do I pass every day?
No wonder we have more shows. We're about 99% of the country, really.
No, you're not.
There's,
no,
I think,
no,
what
no.
is it, like 80% religious, and not all of that is Christian, but it wouldn't matter.
Yeah,
I don't
doesn't
care.
matter.
The point is, you have all the airtime, all the radio time, and we have a 1-hour you know what it reminds me of? There's a parable, actually, in your Bible that reminds me of this. It's the one where they give the example of the guy who has like 100 sheep, and his neighbor has like one little pet sheep, and the guy with the 100 sheep goes and steals his neighbor's sheep and slaughters it. And it's like, wow, you couldn't really deal with like the guy having one sheep. That was like freaked you out that your neighbor had one sheep, even though you had 100. And it's like that's kind of what you're doing. You've got like all the airtime, all the TV time, all the money, all the resources. I mean, you've got people handing you 10% of the tithe. I mean, you've just got them coming in throwing their money at you. And yet this 1-hour show we have no budget, and it's like nothing. And we should have Christians on to promote Christianity, really. Does that seem reasonable to you, honestly?
If you want my honest opinion, I think you guys are scared to talk to serious people about this. You'd
Are you
rather
serious?
Just beat up on some clueless guys and then
that call us, like the
pat each other on
callers,
the
right?
back.
Or the clueless ones.
No, we invite people to call and defend their beliefs.
Anybody can call us.
And anybody can call us. We're on the show every Sunday.
We let you call. I mean, feel free to, and we're letting you talk about whatever you want.
Yeah, any of these professional apologists are welcome to call at any time.
Well,
Consider an invitation.
I just want to say that I think a lot of the things you guys say are wrong.
Well, so
I would expect that from a
religion,
theist.
and I would just,
for example.
Pardon me?
For example.
Well, that there's no God, I guess, would be the start. If you're an atheist, then right off the bat, we've got a bit of a problem.
But that's an easy problem to resolve because all it takes is a demonstration of a justification for your belief.
You use really big words when you talk. I'm sorry. It sounds a little...
Okay. I just want you to demonstrate to me that your belief in the existence of a God is justified.
Well, Well, why do I believe in God? Well, there's evidence for God everywhere you look.
Like?
I mean,
Such as?
just on the news lately, we had a national tragedy. Someone got shot through the brain,
That's
and they
horrible.
survived that.
And
And-
wait a minute,
wait.
what? They got shot and they...
Representative Giffords
Right,
got shot
right.
through the brain.
Right.
The doctor said it was a miracle she even lived. She got shot
So
through
you
the
don't-
brain,
you
and
don't
she
think-
is still alive, and she looks like she will actually get back to normal.
What about the 9-year-old who died?
Yeah.
Well, you just look on the news, and the president said she's up in heaven, and you want to tell us you want to jumping in rain puddles, he said, and you want to tell people that it's just lights out when you die.
So the president decides who's in heaven?
Yeah.
He said she's jumping in rain puddles up there.
Did he see her? I mean, how does he know this?
Well, you want to tell us that it's just game over when you die?
No, I'm just asking how you
We're
know
asking
this.
how
What
you
is
know
the
this?
justification for claiming she's in heaven? And even if she is in heaven, is that a justification for someone shooting a little girl? Is that part of the miracle? Was that a 9-year-old got killed?
It's a miracle that Representative Gifford survived.
Right.
Imagine you got shot in the head.
So
Do you
the
think you'd have a good chance to live?
Right, the plan was about killing several people so that God could show his beneficence in making somebody go through rehab after getting brain damaged from a bullet through the brain. That's your miracle.
You don't think that's a miracle if
I
someone
think it's
survived
an
a
extreme
gunshot to the head?
tragedy, and that it's fortunate that not everybody was killed. But I don't think it's a miracle that somebody survived and is now having to go through rehab, and she can barely, I don't even know if she can speak yet.
Yeah.
I mean,
the
this is
doctors don't know
somebody's
that.
But
brain
it's a
damage.
miracle she's even alive.
She's brain damaged,
you-
and people are dead. And that's exactly what I would expect to happen at an event where somebody shoots into a crowd. I don't consider several people shot dead and one person brain damaged to be proof of God's miraculous powers.
Let me ask you something. How do you define a miracle? What's your definition of a miracle?
A miracle is the way God shows us
No,
He's
no, no,
real.
no.
It's something that could never happen without God.
So people
never happen without God.
never survive
A
getting
shot
shot
to
in
the
the head without God.
Without God, she'd be dead, just like most people who get shot through the head with a
So
bullet in
Most
their
people.
brain.
Most
So-
people. But you admit
so
that
how
there's
many-
some people that get shot through the head that don't die.
It's pretty rare.
Right, but it happens.
Right. 10% of
That's
people.
why we call it a miracle. A miracle
Okay,
is
so a
really
miracle is a
thing.
rare event. It's not something that can't happen. It's something that could happen, but statistically would be rare.
And in this case, it happens 10% of the
Right.
time.
So anything that happens that's against the odds, which we would assume that in the universe some rare things will happen. Every time a rare event happens, you just say God did it. Is that what we're calling a miracle now?
Well, I wouldn't say it's a miracle if you win the lottery, but I would say
Why
it's a
not?
miracle.
It's
Why
a
not?
rare
It's a
event.
rare event. In fact, it's
What is
it's-
the statistical odds that determine a miracle? Like at what point is it statistically become a miracle versus a rare event?
I don't think you can just you can't do science on it. That's because it's nothing to do with science. It's
So we don't really know at what point rare becomes miraculous versus just rare.
well, this isn't something you study in a university. I mean, this is
Right, but
this
you're
is-
saying that you recognize miracles, and I'm asking you what they are, and you're saying they're rare events. And I said, well, there's some rare events like winning the lottery, and you said, but that's not a miracle. So I'm saying,
Yeah.
when do we hit the point when a rare event is then determined to be a miracle?
I think you guys, you guys are playing dumb with me. I think you know exactly what I mean when I say
No,
a
no,
miracle.
we
Actually,
don't.
I
survive.
don't know what you mean.
No, I want to
I'm
know.
asking you, how do you know how do you differentiate the rare medical survival event from a miracle?
You mean if someone survives cancer?
Right.
I guess that's a miracle if they
But-
survive a
But
deadly disease.
do you believe that there is such a thing as natural remissions that can occur? Like, for example, if you have rats in a lab and some of those rats have cancer and they have a natural remission and survive, are you thinking God is saving those rats, or do you think that there's sometimes a natural remission?
Oh, I understand the question now.
Right.
It's not always a miracle. First of all, I don't think
Okay.
God does miracles for rats. I think it's just for humans.
Right, and I didn't
it's when
think you did.
humans survive.
Yeah, okay. I just wanted to make it clear. I mean, I didn't think that you did think God was doing miracles for us, but I was trying to make you understand my question better. So my question is, when you see somebody survive cancer, How do you tell the difference between a natural remission, like what we would see in a rat, which we would assume would also occur in humans, versus God fixed the person?
Well, obviously, it's just a question of what you believe. I mean,
no, it's not. It's a question of what you're claiming.
If God did it or if it was natural.
So the doctor can't tell if it's a natural remission or a miracle, but then how can you tell?
Well, it's just I believe that when these things happen, it's God's work that he does.
Except that sometimes you think it's just a rare event.
It's just a really good thing that happens that you didn't think was going to happen, and then it happens and you say it's a miracle. And
like winning the lottery.
God loves you, and that's how he shows you he loves you, is he protects you.
How do you differentiate between a rare event that you don't think is miraculous and a miraculous rare event?
I guess you can't really. It depends on different people. You might ask different people. They might say it's a miracle. Some people might say it's never a miracle.
I know
Maybe
say
they just one thing in their life is a miracle.
Right.
Some people might say, like every day there's a miracle.
I know that people say this because I talk to them all the time. What I'm asking is, where's their justification when they say it's a miracle, when they're also acknowledging that sometimes rare, fortunate things do just simply occur? So when they're saying, I've determined it's a miracle, I guess I'm asking, where's their justification when they're telling me this is a miracle?
Well, maybe there is no real justification.
That's my point.
There you go.
But that's not necessarily a problem.
It is a problem.
It is a problem. If you want me to believe...
It's a problem if you care
problem.
whether or not the things you believe are true. If you don't care if they're true, then justification for them doesn't matter. If you care if they're true, then whether or not they're reasonable beliefs to hold and there is justification for holding them becomes important.
Well, I mean, I just think it doesn't even matter. I think I don't even think it matters if it's true. If it makes you feel good and do good things.
Okay. Well, in that case, then the dialogue is kind of over. And I don't mean that in any kind of an offensive way, but honestly, when the person on the phone tells us they don't care if their beliefs are true or not, they just simply hold them and they can't justify them and they don't care, then I don't really see a point in a dialogue because you're saying that even if we could demonstrate you're wrong, you don't care. You're still going to believe it or you're still going to say it's okay to hold the belief. And so to you, whether or not beliefs are true is unimportant.
Well, maybe we don't have a justification for miracles. That doesn't mean we don't have a good church and we're not good people.
I don't doubt that you're a decent person. I mean, if you were my neighbor, I would probably be fine with that. I don't think that you're, killing babies in the basement.
I find all this stuff pretty philosophical, if you ask me. I don't think it has much to do with whether religion is good or bad. I mean...
Well, no, I mean, whether religion is good or bad has to do strictly with what it does. And what I see is that there are some benefits to religion, such as it supplies like a good support structure. For example, you're saying you've got this good community of people that are in your
like
church.
Some people, they said the Bible helped them through like a time, like suicide. They thought they were going to commit suicide, and the Bible helped them.
Well, that's not the same.
There's a different issue there because I sometimes wonder if Christianity specifically doesn't kind of rob us of our self-esteem by telling us that we're inherently depraved, and then give us back, that sort of, if you grovel, then you're acceptable to God, and that makes you worthy of something. But that's a whole different issue. Because right now, what I'm trying to say is that I agree with you that there are certain things like the social structure of your church is probably very supportive, and it's a positive social influence on the people that attend there. I agree with you.
I agree with that, too.
Right. Okay. But I also understand that there is a great deal of pain going on around the globe for religious reasons because of the same doctrines that are coming out of the same book, because people read that book and they read a lot of different things. And for every Christian that I've ever met who says, this is what really my religion is about, I've met other Christians who say, that Christian's not a real Christian, and this is what my religion is about. And so I have to look at Christians and say, what does each person believe and what are they doing here? And yes, there are some good people who are Christians. And there are some evil people also who are Christians. And it's the Christianity that seems to motivate some of these evil things. And before you react, let me just say, I don't think that people in Nigeria would be murdering their children as witches if somebody didn't tell them God wanted them to kill witches and convince them that their child was a witch. I think that is a superstitious belief that they were convinced of that is causing those deaths that would not be happening if they had a real-world perspective that says witches are not real.
Well, I mean, my church doesn't.
I understand. You're not killing children. I get it. Your church is not doing that. You're a happy group of people that has a community going on, and it makes you happy. The problem is, this is a belief that proselytizes all around the globe, and different people interpret it in different ways, and it causes a lot of harm. Most of the harm that comes from the religious teaching seems to be connected to the supernatural and superstitious parts and claims about it. The parts that are good are the very real things that we agree are good, that are like you're talking about, the social structure. We get together, we sing songs, we feel happy, we like each other, we rely on each other. If someone needs help, we come together and help them. All of that is community, it's good. It would be good whether you were a social group or a church. It would still be good either way for you people to come together and be a good community group of people. I would support that. What I have problems with is when you start teaching people things that are superstitious and supernatural that a lot of uneducated people get a hold of, don't know how to interpret, and start hurting each other. Or you get some people who are educated who hurt people, who are like voting and saying, you know, gay people need to be not treated like other people. They need to be treated less than other people. Or they need to be, you know, that women shouldn't have the same rights as men. Or that, I mean, when you start getting things like that, I mean, these are people that did get a regular education who don't know how to read this and not make it hurt people. So what I'm saying is, maybe if we took the good parts of it that you're saying are the good things, like the
You mean
community.
we need to make a New Testament with no supernatural things?
I'm saying maybe we can just take the good community aspects of what you do as a church and hold on to those things, and maybe weed out some of the stuff that you're saying we can't really demonstrate, and maybe it's not true, but we don't really care. Let's care.
Is that what your organization does? It's sort of like you help people, but you have no Bible, you have no.
We are a community group. We're pretty small. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to admit we probably don't have the resource power that your church has behind it, for sure. But we do our part. We have like an Adopt a Street cleanup, and we have a blood drive, and so we do community efforts, and we try. We're not a humanist group. Now, I will tell you that there are secular organizations that are.
Do you guys belong to other organizations?
Yeah, there's like the Coalition of Reason, which is like a national arm that we just like had a partnership with, I guess.
Yeah, we have a local coalition.
So I mean, there's a little bit of networking. But the thing is, what you're describing would be like a humanist group, or even like a Unitarian Universalist church might be more along those lines of like a group of people who are really getting together to do like a sort of almost secular. I don't know if it's correct or incorrect to call it a secular religion, but it's almost like a secular sort of, we believe in helping humanity. Yeah. And so there's a group called humanists that would be secular, generally. You don't have to be secular to be a humanist, don't get me wrong, but their goal is just sort of like, let's promote the welfare of the human good. And I think that's fine.
I thought all you guys did was just go out and do protests and say you don't like religion. I didn't know you actually did.
We also do protests, but honestly, I mean, there's some things that we protest that there are church groups that would protest as well, and that do protest as well. For example, the People United or Americans United for Separation of Church and State is headed by a minister who believes that the government should stay out of religion. And so he wants to see that separate because he believes that his religion is better served by not having the government involved in what they're preaching and what they're doing. And so that is an area where we are aligned with certain churches who believe that it's best that the government stays out of religious belief. And so we believe, of course, from the secular side that it's good that religion stays out of the government. And so we see it both as a mutually beneficial thing, agreeing that religion benefits when government doesn't run it, and government does well when it handles the secular concerns and lets religion handle, you know, the people that are religious, and let them figure out what they want to do with their own religion. That's up to them. It's a personal, private decisions for them to make, and not something the government should be dictating.
Well, thanks so much, guys. I think I have good news for you, because I don't think most people, I don't think most people actually like the bad parts of the Bible. So they would like to get rid of that too, maybe, but
I hope
it
you're
would
right.
be hard for them.
I hope you're right, and I thank you for your call.
Yes. Okay. Well, that was interesting.
It was a good call.
Yeah.
I appreciate the call.
Okay. And we have about 15 minutes left in the show, actually about 13 minutes, I think. Just as a reminder, we'll be at El Royo immediately after the show, actually about 30 minutes after the show. And